What's going on, man?
What's up, bro?
I want to welcome you to the show. We have one of the nicest from North Vallejo, California, joining me on the show here tonight. Sports and hip hop with DJ Mad Max, iHeartRadio Live 365. LaRussell, how you doing tonight, man?
Thanks. I am marvelous.
I'm glad to hear that. How's everything with all this COVID thing going on out here? The numbers are going up again. I hope you and your family are safe.
We're as safe as we can be.
Yeah. What were some positives that came out of this pandemic for you as an artist that may have helped you build up your numbers, your branding, anything?
um, just the same shit going into it. I just kind of kept my foot on the gas and kept creating and doing what I know how to do best. That's it. I think being that the pandemic hit, it had people kind of in the house and in a state to receive content. So that kind of improved it for like people like myself who was creating. But yeah, I didn't really change much of what I was doing. I was never really out too much anyway. So I kind of just got to lock in and just make my shit.
You're more of an inside person. 8 albums, you've made them out of your bedroom. I don't think there really is much as a difference of people going to the studio. I feel as though if you're in your element and that's your element, then that's what you're going to create your most, I'd say, prestigious projects.
For certain. We've had some great studio sessions too, and like bigger studios, and there's a need, and it's when it's a necessity. When you're doing things as a group and a unit, it's kind of cool to have the big studio where everyone could come in and sit and contribute. But for the most part, I make a lot of my music alone and just writing and piecing my shit up. So yeah, I like being at home and at the crib.
Speaking of writing, you used to write poetry when you were younger. If you want to go on that, explain what type of poetry you used to write about.
I was really writing raps.
Just raps.
I thought it was poetry because it is, in a form, but I was really just writing raps.
You used to pull up the talent shows too.
Talent shows?
Yeah. When you were younger, I read that online.
That's funny. I don't know where that came from. Talent shows. Intriguing. I don't think so. I didn't really do too many talent shows that I could recall.
Any ciphers?
Yeah, I used to do freestyle battles. I've done my own ciphers. I used to battle in high school often, but yeah, I don't think any talent shows. The Wikipedia is incorrect.
Oh man, but it all makes sense when it's done. You just dropped that recently. Is this what you're referencing about your career? Because I've read about your journey and followed your story for a long time now, and just the struggles that you went through. And it's crazy how New Year's is coming up, because years ago you were crying on New Year's.
Yes, sir. Yeah, very much so. Heavily. I think it's incredible to, that New Year's that I spent that time with myself and crying and kind of down. I vowed to never have a New Year's like that again. So look where we are now.
This year you're smiling on New Year's, right?
Right. I'm at peace.
That's the main thing. What year was this when you were going through your troubles, when you were crying on?
That was like the end of 2019, going into 2020.
Wow. And it was because that you were putting in all this hard work and nothing was coming from it.
Yeah, it was. And then you could only imagine how disheartening 2020 was to have COVID hit. And it's like everything that I had mapped out and planned to not have to redo that year was like, But yeah, definitely. It was just being in that space as an artist in general, or anything. Imagine you go to work every day and you work your ass off and then you get your paycheck and it's a lot less than you thought it would be. It's just that feeling. But the difference here is like, you don't get to go find a new job. This is my life. So it's either I make it happen or I'm shit out of luck.
What did you do as a form of therapy to get you through those times? Was it positive reading, journals? What was it? Because it's always interesting to hear about the depression that artists go through. And I think someone in your position who really cares about their craft and actually does it through the lyrics, especially with your music. Have you thought about even writing a book to help guide artists?
I've written a book, not as an artistic guide, but just as like the way I kind of deal with things. I have written a book called The Bullshit We Tell Ourselves. But beyond that, I read, I drink tea, I try to meditate occasionally. I picked up biking last year, and that's been like a big therapeutic thing for me. I hop on my bike and mob around the city and just kind of get that energy and that vibe, and that definitely helps. But yeah, I go play Frisbee with the homies, play tennis, hoop, shit like that. You feel me? Just really been outside.
Marlin 7, that's where the biking came from.
Marlin 7, man. Marlin 7 came from the biking.
It came from the biking. That's crazy. See, that's what you do. You draw pictures of what you do in real life in your music. And that's where artists need to get back to in life. And I've heard you speak about it before, about the music that you did make at a time, and just saying that this was your last BS track because you wanted to get on some real type of time.
Right. You know, I battle with that. It's funny. I was just having that conversation today because I've been in this space where I'm like, I don't ever want to release a song with no meaning again, you know, but, you know, I got homies who are like, nah, but I love rap song and I love Hyphy 2020 and I love, you know, they love that hype shit, you know, that doesn't have as much socially conscious meaning, but it's still, you know, blap. So it's like having that balance, you know, having something for everyone to eat, whether they're vegan or they just like pork or they only like the, you know, like having an option for everyone to be able to consume and enjoy it.
I've heard you say before that you don't consider yourself an activist. So what would be the line drawn of what you consider yourself? Because you do speak out about things in society, about the Proud Boys. You speak out about things like police brutality. So where would you consider yourself if there was a line in between being an activist and just speaking out?
I consider myself a human that cares. Simply, I don't think there's any title for that. I think at the basis of activism is humanity, and I think that's where I sit. I'm not neither right nor left on too much of anything. I just sit as a human. You know, if there's something that seems like an issue that needs to be tended to, I think that's just where I kind of sit within it. But you know, I don't have any title for that beyond human.
And it's good that you speak out about these things because people in music tend not to. You saw it with the George Floyd, but it takes an instance like that for people to speak out, where I feel as though they should speak out about it a little more. And when speaking out about these issues, do you feel as though labels turn away because there's times when there's artists that speak out about what's real?
Nah, I don't think so, because speaking out doesn't do anything tangibly. You know, speaking out only does so much. They let you say whatever you want to say. You know, it may not get a huge push or support, but that's because that shit don't slap. If you make it slap, it'll get that support. You know, like we just had to find out how to make songs that are commercially available and still have some meaning to them, which I've tried to do, you know, and with songs like It Is What It Is and shit, where I still talk about socially conscious things, but it slap, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't think labels don't see speaking out as a threat, you know, because speaking out is only one thing. Anybody could say something, but everybody won't do something.
Mm-hmm. I've heard you say before that with making the radio, it doesn't matter as much as making the radio because you can make it in any other way. But is there times that when you turn on the radio and you hear these party tracks that you put so much effort into it that your tracks, no matter what the message is, it should be on the radio?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think radio should be for the promotion of great music, but that's just not what it's for or made for. I mean, radio is a tool, a promotional tool, and a tool to spread news. So, I mean, you would, if I owned the radio, I would use the tool to spread whatever the fuck my agenda is, you know, like that's what it's for. People make commercials to promote their shit. So that's what they're doing it for. The people who own radio is using it to promote and exploit their shit, rightfully so. So, you know, like we can't keep depending on industry to support and meet our needs.
What's your take on the industry as a whole, just trying to find your way as an artist into this lane? Because you've been able to do it with your own company.
Yeah.
Which is company.
I think the industry is one earthquake away from despair, you know. They have to learn to readjust and to get behind these forward thinkers and things that are coming new, you know. They're one earthquake away from being gone.
I think people like you are certainly the ones to change it, especially with what you're doing with your own company right now. And this started around 2016, 2017 with your own company. Is that right?
Yeah, for certain.
Yeah, company. I like the way you chose that name, the title, because pennies aren't valued as much. I've heard you elaborate on it, that people walk by pennies.
All the time.
$100, $50, even maybe a quarter, they'll go and pick it up.
Yep.
And that's how you feel about with your company.
You probably walked past a million pennies throughout your life and you didn't keep none of them.
Nope.
And people don't understand the power of 1%. 1% of a billion is a lot of money. It's still life-changing, you know? So when you understand the power of 1%, you start to look at your pennies different.
When you started with your career, which was years ago, we can actually get into the beginning after this question. Were you looking for a deal right away? Was that what you were looking for?
Subconsciously, I think, yeah. I mean, just because I thought to be a rapper, you had to have a deal. I mean, that was just like the thing. Like, you rap, you get signed, and then you become a star. Like, that's as much as you know about it. So, yeah, naturally, I think that's just like, if you start playing basketball, you want to go to the NBA, you know?
You started when you were young, actually, when you were 6 or 7. You started rapping on beats with your sister, and that's what made you want to be a producer.
Right. Well, a Kanye West video made me want to be a producer. But yeah, I used to write raps with my sister, just in the room chilling over Crime Mob instrumentals that we downloaded from LimeWire type shit, you know?
50 Cent was an early influence before Kanye West, because people at school were telling you that Graduation and Kanye, all what stuff that he was doing was going to outdo 50 Cent. And it came true because he became a bigger inspiration. But 50 Cent, we're on this trending topic right now. Is 50 Cent top 10 of all time? Because I saw something on Twitter today that said that he was top 10. He said that he was top 10.
Top 10 of all time of what?
I think just top 10 all time rappers.
Yeah. Yeah, he has to be. Not in terms of just rap as a skill, but just in terms of a rapper that made it and did something. Hell yeah, how could he not be? 50 Cent had a video game, vitamin water, fucking his own cognac. He makes he's of course, he's damn near, yeah. It's impossible for him to not be. I mean, he's taken hip hop to a level that we've never witnessed it or experienced it. And 50 came out, you know, over a decade ago, and we're still talking about him, and he's constantly reinventing himself. There's no way he's not top 10. Anyone who thinks otherwise is insane.
I think it's easy for different people, because when you look at top 10s, people go so far back as to the 90s and 80s, is that when we look at artists such as KRS-One, we look at their lyrics. So we go to who's more superior in their lyrics. So that's why 50 Cent may not make the top 10 sometimes.
Right. They go straight to skill, and you can't gauge. If you gauge every NBA player based on their ability to shoot 3-pointers, then you would never cover, you know, you can never cover the greatest, because there's some who weren't shooting 3-pointers, but they could still drop 50, 60 points in their own way. So you can't gauge it based off that one thing. We got to look at the entire picture. Like, this is 50 Cent. He changed the entire culture. Like, he had niggas wearing bulletproof vests who didn't have no enemies. You feel me? Like, that's different, you know. That's when you say top, that's what I'm thinking. When I think of top, I'm thinking who influenced the culture, who innovated, who changed the game. There was no one in the world, you know. Your grandma probably knew who 50 Cent was, just subconsciously, you know. There was no one in the world who didn't, so he has to be undoubtedly
top 10, 100%. What's your number one 50 Cent album?
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Get Rich or Die Trying. The debut album.
For certain. I mean, just everything about it, the writing, the storytelling, everything about it. Like, that shit still till this day is just a great body of work.
We need more albums like that. And I think you're doing that. I think you're putting that forward right now. As I see that's what you're doing with your craft, is taking it seriously. Where artists today, it's so hard because they're doing what's ever trending. But I think we're starting to see a shift. It just what a lot of artists in the game in general, when you see artists on Instagram taking a poll, because I remember back in the day, this was like years ago, and they would be choosing all the trap records and all the BS party records. But now they want the lyrics. They want the bars back. So now you're seeing a cultural shift.
Partially. I mean, the radio doesn't reflect that, so I don't think that's relevant. Neither the Spotify playlist or Billboard or any of that. So I don't know if that's true, but there's a partial space in hip hop where people want talent, but they want it, but they're not knocking down the door for it, you know. So it's like, if you have it, great, exceptional, we're going to praise you, but if you don't, we'll accept the bullshit, you know. So there's a slight want for it, but not at a point where people are really like, no, I really want to listen to something that feels me, you know.
Getting further into your journey throughout this music industry. You're going in just like every other rapper, looking for a deal. Were you able to meet with any labels at all?
A lot of them, yeah, tons.
Wow. Now,
Tons.
was this that they didn't sign you, or the right deal didn't come along?
The right deal just didn't come. It just and not even the deal. I mean, I've gotten offered some pretty great deals, but the people behind it wasn't because it's not even just about the deal. You can get a great deal from a not so great person.
You got to watch who you sign to, because then you sign over your whole catalog and your rights and everything, and you never get your catalog back.
I mean, you don't have to. I didn't get offered a deal that wanted my catalog because they already knew. I mean, there's it depends on what you're going into it as and what you stand for in the beginning phase. Some will offer you that shit, but it just depends on who you are and what you bring forth. How much is already at your table.
Mm-hmm. Who did you study when now you have to take the independent route? Who was someone's journey that you may have studied to take the independent route and start your own company?
Man, Nipsey, Jay-Z, Currency, Larry June, Master P, Jay Prince, man, all the great independents, all the one I've kind of built a blueprint based off everyone else's blueprint, little pieces here and there, and then creating my own lane and my own thoughts helped me get to a new level.
You're doing it right now. It's something I really admire. What you're doing is helping other artists out. You're not signing them, but you're doing what a label would do for them.
You have to. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a due diligence. I'm able, so as long as I'm able and capable, I'm going to do so.
Are you scouting? You're just scouting Vallejo artists. Is that what you're doing, or are you expanding? You're expanding?
No, we have artists from all over, mostly the Bay Area, but I mean, we're starting to get submissions now from different places, and I'm just scouting great art. Of course, I have a priority on the Bay Area, and then an even greater priority on Vallejo, but no, everywhere. I want to find great art and help people get that shit into the world.
Something that's great as a marketing technique in what you do, and I notice, is that you go back to your old songs that didn't pop right away, and then you make them pop later on.
I mean, what's pop? All of my songs pop. You feel me? I'm just going and making content because I love the song. So I just try to promote the song as many different ways as possible.
With the visuals, this is filmed where do you usually film your shows? In a studio? It's just with a studio
in my garage.
In your garage. Wow, that's crazy. And you would never notice it either, because it's just
never NPR
ingenious. Because even you said that they've served as an inspiration for the videos that you create with the artists.
Man, yeah, we looked at everyone who's doing what they do great in their lane, and we try to find a way that we could do what we do great. And yeah, no, we're out the garage with it.
That's how it has to be. That's what you're doing. You're putting on all these artists.
Man, that's the best way. And to build, when I'm building in terms of community and foundation, there's no better way to build it than inviting someone into your home and showing them like, hey, this is where we at. This is love. This is ours. That's the only way to build this type of shit, to get this type of trust and relationship established.
When you listen to LaRussell, which is yourself, numbers and analytics don't matter to you at all, because there was a time when you were focused on it, but you felt as though that the fans and the followers and everyone on Instagram and social media will eventually just come to you. And you speaking about the shows, you can have 10,000 likes, but 100 people will only show up at your show.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And man, it's the analytic game will eat you. I've been consumed by analytics and data. And the problem is, when you get into analytics and data, you start to look at people as data instead of as humans. And you factor out a lot of great ideas and marketing capability because you're just looking at it as numbers. And that's not what this shit is. Like, one human could be, oh, we're going to target there because we can get 1,000 versus one. But what if that one person spends $10,000 with you? You missed him because analytically he didn't fit your bill.
You're right. The whole social media, and it could change up what you have going too, because you're so focused on the numbers too.
Oh, it'll alter everything. You'll start doing shit for numbers and for shit like that instead of because of the love and the art and you know the just the heart of it, the passion. Like you miss out on all that. Everything starts to become a numbers grab.
Mm-hmm. The numbers, it's insane how people view that nowadays, because you look at someone such as Griselda, they're better than most of the people that are on the radio, and they have all the numbers in the world, the people that you hear on the radio.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. That shows you how irrelevant all of that shit is.
Yeah.
None of it truly matters. You feel me? What matters is what's real, and all of that shit is fake. Numbers are fake. Numbers can be manipulated. Numbers are bought.
100%.
Everything is completely fake. You can't believe one number you see because you don't know how much of it is manipulation and bought and paid for, which I'm telling you now, most of it is. Yeah, and as simple as that. So, you know, the numbers are just they're for aesthetic, you know.
I like that you're taking this independent route for yourself, and eventually the industry, they're recognizing it. The people in the industry support you, Charlemagne. All these personalities support you in the industry. They see what you're doing. When the higher ups come around, though, that's going to be the time for you. Would you consider merging with the company that you have now under a distribution deal of some sort, if the right deal came along with a major?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not anti-label. I'm anti-trash people.
Mm.
So like, you know, you find the right people with the right reason, and that might not come from, everyone thinks that that comes from a label, but it may not come from a label. That could come from YouTube or from DistroKid. You know, it's really just finding the right people who understand what you're building and building in that form. But yeah, I'm not anti-label as well if it's right, but it just has to make sense. Like people don't understand what we do with art goes into perpetuity. I'm able to send someone's grandkid to college off the song I make today if they own a percentage of it. That's what niggas don't understand. We're still playing Michael Jackson's music. We still playing Tupac music, and somebody is still getting paid 2 decades later, and he only got to advance one day. That shit don't add up, you know?
Oh.
So it's like, we're even at a point now, honestly, artists need to start getting stake in the labels that they build. No one would have wanted to sign to Rock Nation if they didn't have Kanye, Rihanna, and J. Cole. Why don't they own a stake in that? Rock Nation owns a stake in their likeness and image, you know, so they should own a stake in Rock Nation because we built this company. But artists don't think that way. So we have to start just refining our approach completely. You know, I'm at this point now where I'm starting to like, all the deals I do, I damn near want half in cash and half in equity. Like I don't even want, you know, all of it in cash. Give me some stock and then give me partially in cash. And that should be how it is going forward completely, especially as an artist who really has potential, you know, because think about Drake. Drake completely helped build that foundation of Cash Money and Republic. Drake should own some of Cash Money and Republic.
He should. I agree with you on that, and it just goes to show you that the independent way that you're building right now could change the game. And I think you're seeing it right now. It's starting. You're starting a movement.
It will change the game.
Yeah, I believe
it.
it.
Is changing the game.
Yeah, I believe it, man. I really do. Just by the impact that you're having out here, and even just not even with your songs going viral, but just the people that have recognized your greatness. And how does it feel with all the hard work putting in with that rough patch of New Year's, now that you're finally getting some praise out here, especially by the majors in the industry, and we're talking personalities?
Bittersweet. You realize that that thing that you've been waiting in line for so long for, you don't even want. Like, I don't even give a fuck no more.
Does it feel like fake love at times?
Completely. And I mean, just beyond that, I just don't give a fuck no more. You know, it's like I say, it's one of those things that you want and you seek so bad until you get it and you realize, like, I don't need no one's fucking validation for shit. Like, you know, when you got it and you come across and you realize you're in these offices, labels often make you feel like you're in their office because they're about to do you a favor. And that's far from the truth. Is actually the complete opposite.
The artists are going to do the labels a favor. They're the ones that's going to be putting them on a pedestal.
Yeah. You know, so it's when you get that realization and you start to understand and you start to see people that you reached out to years ago who didn't respond, and now they're like, hey, let's talk, you know, it just, it just builds a different relationship. And yeah, you know, I'm over it.
I totally understand, man. When you're on your down times, when you're independent, and then when you make it major, all the people that you needed at a time when you were independent were nowhere to be found. All of a sudden you're major, and then they come around, and then you got to be closing the door on them.
Right, right.
Because we know what type of people they are.
Bro, they're all the same.
Snakes,
They're all the
snakes.
same.
I want to get into Hovain. How did you meet Hovain? Because he did some management with
Um,
Troy Ave back in the day, who was a great independent rapper. I don't care what anyone says. He deserves all the credit that he gets. He gets a lot of flack out here. He still puts out great content.
Blueprint Lane, man, he did his thing. I actually met Hovain through Jonny Shipes when I went to New York to meet with Cinematic and just meet their team. I met Hovain while I was there, and we kind of connected and just built from that point.
That's right, because you got the call from Jonny Shipes, and you were actually crying too. That was another call.
Right, exactly. Call from Jonny Shipes, man.
Man, that call must have been at a time when you most needed it. I'll tell you that, because that's a confidence booster. When you finally get that one call, that's all it takes. Because even if it doesn't go through the deal, it goes to show you that, hey, there's people in the industry that do take me seriously, and I have a shot with other people, even if this doesn't go through.
Man, right. Life-changing calls. It just tells you, it reminds you that sometimes people are seeing you and you don't even know it's happening. I got a call yesterday from someone who was in the studio with a really big industry producer, and he's like, man, he asked me about you. And I was like, man, that shit's crazy. Because you often, like I said, as artists, you think that people don't know you exist or fuck with you, but they know.
Oh, they're watching. They just don't
So,
say anything. They don't even like anything on your page, but there's people watching.
right. Right. And you know, I've had to adjust and get used to that, because I'm a nigga like when I see something I like, I share it, support it, or help in any way I can. So when other people are like, oh man, I seen your shit, I loved it, and didn't share it or didn't hit me as support, it always makes me kind of I had to realize and get to the point that everyone is different and everyone don't maneuver how I maneuver. You know, the way I act when I see things I like and love is one way, and the way other people act and conduct that is completely different. And for a minute it used to bother me, but you know, it's whatever.
When meeting with Jonny Shipes, what was the most important meeting that you had in the industry that helped you with throughout your career being independent so far? Some notes that you took down during these meetings, if any?
All of them.
All
I
of them?
mean, I think I've gotten the most importance from meetings that weren't even industry meetings or for. I just had one earlier today. I was here with Bosco and Miles, they've been in the industry for a long time and have done a lot of great shit. And they just pulled up to my house, and we had an incredible conversation today. And that was more valuable and important than any meeting I've had thus far, you know?
See, it goes to show you that it's not always the people in these buildings, these HR people, these HR people have no idea what they're doing either when signing these artists and just getting any form of talent in the buildings.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not they're not equipped enough. You know, like you have to be in this shit to fully get it and to, you know, exert your creative ability. Like you have to be in this field. And that's the thing with this industry, is it's full of people who haven't made music, or you know, they haven't done the proper groundwork. You know, you got to work on the floor before you move up to the admin side if you really want to know the business.
One important thing too about the HR people and all these people in the industry is that they don't understand hip hop. And I think that's a big thing why you see the artists that are thriving nowadays, because they sign these artists based off of numbers. They have no idea what hip hop is, that it comes from struggle. It has a message. They don't understand that. So they're all about the money and business side of things at the end of the day.
Right. And it's not hip hop. I mean, they just don't they understand business and money, you know, and that's what it's about. And that's the problem. Like, yeah, when it comes to hip hop has to be marketed and pushed in a specific way to be received in a specific way. Otherwise, you could really fuck up, you know, the art or the perception of it.
Another important call that you got was Russ. When Russ called you, because you were actually talking about his numbers and analytics with a friend at a time, and then how all these numbers were going up, but you really don't see anything outside of the numbers. But then you get that call, and there's another life-changing call for you.
Another life-changing call. Yep. Another life-changing call. It's crazy how it all happens. Super manifestation.
I was hearing that you could sign to Russ. Is that true?
Yep. That is very true.
What did he say to you about your music and what you're doing out here for hip hop?
Man, all high praises. All high praises. Just really good words, really kind words, sentiments. You know, he's a fan of the art and a fan of myself. And yeah, I mean, all great things.
That's great, man. Especially you even had the opportunity to work with E-40. What did that mean to you, especially being from North Vallejo, being able to work with a Bay Area legend as E-40, who's reinvented himself over 2-3 decades here?
Right, huge. From a young dollionaire to a gazillionaire a few times. Man, that was huge. I'm from Vallejo, you know, so just to have that stamp, and E-40 is a cultural icon, like, so to just have that stamp of like, man, I worked with 40 while he was here, and all of his greatness, you know, that's just some shit that you don't get growing up from Vallejo, you know. There's not too many Vallejo kids who got to meet 40 or speak to him or has the direct line, you know, so this is, you know, I'm grateful, super grateful.
Yeah. 2022 is right around the corner. What are some of the things that you want to achieve this year, man?
Everything. I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to Mars. That's the easiest way to put it.
You're not taking the Bezos ride. You're going to Mars.
Yeah, that's the easiest way for me to put it, you know.
Yeah. You got some upcoming material you want to talk about as far as albums that you're releasing, because you were busy this year.
Man, and it hasn't stopped. You know, I don't live my life in years. I live it in a lifetime. So it's not going to stop anytime soon. The sink is flowing.
When's the first album going to drop in 2022, you think?
I don't know. I'm probably going to drop another album before this year is over.
Really? Also, you got 2 weeks left in December here, so we could get another LaRussell album.
It's highly possible. It's how you can get a LaRussell album at any day and time and moment. There's just, I have so much, you know, so it's highly possible.
Especially the Drake record too. That's something that you've been manifesting.
Yeah, if it's supposed to, it's going to, you know, that's how this shit works.
Anything else, man, LaRussell, anything else you want to let the audience know about, anything you may have upcoming as far as signing artists, upcoming videos that you want to promote, as well as expanding your platform company in 2022?
Man, I think, man, people should just watch. You know, it's an incredible show. It's very entertaining. There's going to be a lot of seasons of it. So it's like, just watch. There's nothing I could say that's going to be better than the show itself, you know? So it's something that you just have to stay tuned for. It's going to be a great journey. And as a fan, you have a lot of opportunities to own stake and equity and to build and make money with us. So it's just something to stay tuned in for. You know, you never know what you're going to miss.
It'll all make sense when it's done.
It'll all make sense when it's done.
Yes. The Evils. Was this a homage to Jay-Z?
Of course.
Yeah, off of Reasonable. I had to get that in real quick. I just wanted to know. That was tough.
Legendary. It was, I had to.
Tough, man. I love that you always go back and you pay homage in your music too. That's important, that you could set that trend for the youth out here. Is a lot of them don't care about what came before them. They just care about what they're living in now. And it's always important to see where hip hop came from, because at the same time, when you study that music, you become a student in the game, and then you school all these kids that are in the game right now, which you are doing.
Right, you know, and it's one of those things that's not a necessity, but if you get it, you know, it works. But if you don't, you could also, you know, you can end up making something completely new. No one was shooting from half court until Steph Curry, you know, so sometimes you just gotta take on, you know, something completely new and not look to the past. But, you know, it's great to have that balance.
100%, man. You're doing it here. Congratulations on everything you're doing, especially on the independent route. I think this is really going to be setting a trend. You're already making noise in the industry right now. Keep going. I'm looking forward to seeing what you build in this future going on, because your time is now, man.
Man, it's now. It's now. We're here. This is the only time that exists.
Yeah, you're right, man. LaRussell, I want you to enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. I have your album in the rotation. Let me know if there's anything else that you ever need from me in the future. You're always welcome on the show. Just let me know, man. I appreciate it.
Beautiful. Mad Max, I appreciate you as well.
No doubt, man. And have a nice Christmas and New Year's. And next year is going to be your year for sure.
Same to you. We'll have to circle around and do an update.
That's for sure, man. I'm going to stay tapped in with you for sure.
For sure. Facts.
Yeah. Take care, man.
All right, bro.
Yeah. Peace out, man.